Good to see you. It looks like President Trump will have a fight on his hands over his new picks to run the State Department and CIA. As you know, the president has nominated former CIA Director Mike Pompeo as his next Secretary of State and CIA Deputy Director Gina Haspel to take over the agency. Earlier today, however, Libertarian Republican Senator Rand Paul said he will do anything to stop those nominations, claiming Pompeo is too much of a hawk and Haspel is giddy about torture. Watch.
You know, really, seriously, do you think we can have discussions with other countries if we're advocating for regime change? You know, at least somebody needs to be advocating for diplomacy. So I think Pompeo doesn't necessarily fit the role of someone I would say would be the chief diplomat. To reward somebody, to make them head of the CIA after they're involved with something so horrendous and I believe to be illegal, I think is a terrible, terrible message to send the world.
All right, so are those valid claims? And should they be stopped? Joining me now, former CIA officer and the host of the Buck Sexton Show. It is Buck Sexton.
Hello.
So let's discuss these nominees. Mike Pompeo has been at the CIA. That's an organization you know well. Mm-hmm. Is he a good fit for the Secretary of State job?
Yeah, I think so on the merits and also for Trump specifically. He's a guy that has a resume that a lot of the elites are going to have a tough time knocking down. West Point, Harvard Law, served in the military, served in the Persian Gulf War, run businesses, congressman, now has been at the CIA for a year. And by the way, was well liked, even by people that politically disagree with him, was well liked in the hallways at Langley.
Will he have a harder time getting confirmed as Secretary of State?
I think he's going to suffer through the grandstanding that a lot of people are going to engage in as a result of the fact that he's close to Trump, which also then goes to the other part of why I think he'll be good as Secretary of State. Trump is trying different things, or at least is positioning himself to try different things, notably on North Korea and certainly on Iran. And he's going to need somebody who's his diplomatic wingman for that.
Someone he trusts. He obviously trusts Mike Pompeo. They have a close relationship. Is that enough?
Well, I think that if you're going to be working in the Trump orbit, we've seen...
I guess I should ask, is that too much? Because the worry for people like Rand Paul is this guy is hawkish on Iran. Well, and Rand Paul is saying, you know, he's worried that he wants to start a war in Iran.
Well, Rand Paul certainly has the right as a senator to give his to give advice and consent here, advise and consent on whether or not there should be this particular candidate going forward. But I would just say that that's a policy difference, not a qualification difference, right? Okay. To say that he's too hawkish is not to say that he is not good in the job.
And maybe hawkishness is good when you are the Secretary of Defense. Maybe diplomacy is a little bit better when you're Secretary of State. I think they would be very different and very interesting confirmation hearings for that role, and they got to do it pretty quickly. Gina Haspel, though, I mean, I share his reservation. What do you know about this woman? Having worked in the CIA. Speak honestly.
She is somebody who I've noticed a lot of people don't want to say very much about at this juncture. I can't say because I keep asking around and trying to figure out what the real reputation is here. Look, the big knock on her is that there's alleged involvement in enhanced interrogation techniques, and a lot of people are still very upset about that whole process. But she does have the backing of Langley institutionally, which is important for that job. She would be the first woman to lead the agency, which would be celebrated were it not for a Trump presidency right now. And we'll have to see. I think that's where Rand Paul has a little more leeway to say we should actually consider another pick, not just let's put this on the record that I have some problems with this pick.
And if he has problems, I would like to see someone like that question her and get to the heart of some of those concerns. Dianne Feinstein, liberal senator from California, has defended her. So we'll see where those confirmation hearings go as well.
I have to say there are too many people that are too good for these jobs to settle. I don't think Pompeo's settling. I think he's what?
You think Haspel's settling?
I think if there's enough...
I think there's a lady quota. You're blushing.
I think that there's enough dissension around her that they could find somebody... heck, I know people in the intelligence community that wouldn't come with all the baggage and certainly would come with all the skills and political savvy for D.C., and that I think Trump would really respect. So I think Pompeo, very good. I think Haspel...
Yeah, you need a CIA director that travels... Carry on. I know exactly what you're saying.
That French bulldog photo is going to haunt me forever, by the way.
Oh, it's sad. It's awful.
I know.
Well, thank goodness we're going to talk about United. I will browbeat them later in the show.
Can you please do that for me?
Absolutely.
Can you libertarians point out that airlines are the last vestige of authoritarianism in America?
They are.
It's out of control.
When they're bad, they're the worst. Buck Sexton, thank you so much. You are the best.
Good to see you.